Blue Ocean has successfully conducted the IPSC multiple times across global locations. The IHRC is another signature event of Blue Ocean, designed to push the boundaries of people management, talent development, and organizational excellence. Blue Ocean achieved a historic milestone by organizing the prestigious Badminton Asia Mixed Team Championships 2023 in Dubai, proving our excellence in organizing world-class events once again. Another flagship event by Blue Ocean is BOLD, the Blue Ocean Women Leadership Development Conference, which is a transformational journey fully organized by our Women Force to ignite the potential of women, amplify their voices, and propel them towards unprecedented achievements. Our journey is supported by the teamwork of our diverse team of dedicated professionals from 18+ nationality backgrounds. It is because of this collaborative effort and visionary mentorship of our leaders we have soared to become market leaders. With offices in some of the world's biggest economies like London, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Riyadh, Delhi, Pune, Kolkata, Hyderabad, and Kochi, Blue Ocean spans the globe. Connect with us today and take your first step towards transformation and excellence. For more information, visit www.blueoceancorporation.com.
I hope you all enjoyed the video. As I said, it was just a glimpse of what Blue Ocean does. Now, just give me a second while I open my presentation. Today's theme, Beyond the Horizon, a bold new vision for every woman and girl, is not just a slogan, but a call to action. It urges us to create a future where every woman and girl has the opportunity to rise, lead, and succeed. By breaking free from traditional limitations and embracing new possibilities, we are paving the way not only for those here today, but also for the future generation. Let's boldly pursue this bright future with courage and determination. With that note, it is my privilege to introduce our first keynote speaker, Ms. Kathleen Pennell. Kathleen is the founder of the Glory of Excellence in Amsterdam and co-founder of HR Devils in Belgium. Today in her session, The Power of Representation, Why Every Girl Needs to See Women in Leadership, Kathleen will explore the critical role of women in leadership and how their visibility empowers young girls to aspire similar heights. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Kathleen as she shares her inspiring vision with us.
Morning, everybody. Feel honored to be invited to speak again today for you guys. I find it very important as being a mother of three. I have 2 daughters and a son, to explain how I see to be visible, but to also be a role and a real model role in this world. And this got to me, let's say 1.5 years ago, I got diagnosed with cancer, and I had to stop talking because I had a severe surgery, and I thought, oh my God, I cannot talk anymore. But I made it to my own power again because people were actually saying, Kathleen, you have something to tell us. We are following you. So I made sure, even if I had no, vocal voice, I had a voice online with writing pieces and showing videos about how I did my own life at that time. So I'm happy to share why I find it important to be visible in any way, shape, or form, and to give that power to people, because when you're not visible, you can't take another role on. And so it's an own path you need to create. So you can go to the next slide. The visibility shapes your visibility shapes your perception. we have like the challenging of the stereotypes that we have in this day and age. If women are not in their own communities, they are not be seen. Here in the Middle East, I am happy that I can show people how we move forward in being visible amongst each other. We like sharing groups, we come online and we talk about how it can be in business. It's been for me the real example, the cherry on the cake, to see my own daughters blossoming in this world. They've seen it by example, and I'm truly believed to show this example and to show the way, to lead the way, we can actually change the path for everybody. So if I see my daughters, I have a 30-year-old and a 20-year-old daughter, they've seen how I gradually always was visible, pushed them to be visible. They taking their own path and they are very successful in this day and age, and they also start to be visible, like taking on their roles in life and in business. You can go to the next slide, Tarush. It's very important. How do we need to be visible is because if you see all these videos online and you only see men, it is a perception, we create a perception that they are only in charge. We need to normalize for ourselves. It is good to be a mother, to have ambition, and to clearly express that ambition, but also talk about that ambition. I truly believe in creating a path for ourselves. I also ask and challenge people around me, what's your path? When you want to go from A to B, when you're going to go from B to C. If you don't have a clear path, no vision, you will be lost, because in this world, everybody shouts very, very loud. But if you can consistent say, I create this path and I go for this path, also you can have some zigzags in your path, but at least you know where to go to, and you start creating online your visibility with videos, with what you write, being visible in groups. I truly believe in the empowerment of women in that way. You need to make sure you feel supported, surrounded, and also be guided through this. So I always said, make sure you find your right tribe. Once you find your tribe, you will see it will push you forward in creating your path. People will support you on your path, and it gets normalized that we have ambitions. It's okay to say, you know what, I want to be the CEO of. It's okay to say, I want to achieve this. It's also okay to say, for this time, oh, it's really difficult to have this challenge because I have 2 children at home. It's okay if we name this kind of things. So it needs to be normal that we have ambition, and we need to create our own path to challenge the stereotypes to get to the ambition that you want to achieve. Next. Yeah, to really break down these barriers, you need to understand, I have often discussions with girls and students. What do we need to do to move these barriers? Because sometimes it can be quite harsh. There are systems, and once you understand the systems, you can actually break them. But first, try to understand where historically we've been, where your place is, how your culture works. And then in that culture, you will really find how you can move along in your culture with respecting the culture to break your obstacle. It's all over the world, it's different. But once you understand in the different cultures where it comes from, where your place is, because I also struggled a lot with, oh, I'm a woman and I'm a very powerful woman because I have all these businesses, but my husband cannot follow. Yeah, of course, it's because we do not understand how we are wired, how a system is wired. It is normal that a husband is there to provide and a woman is there to care. If you change these roles, like you become the main provider and your husband needs to be the caring role, you kind of have obstacles. So once you understand that, how you can challenge that, it makes you more powerful and you can really create your own path to go where you want to be. So it's challenging sometimes, but it made for me understanding all these challenges. They did not came as limitations, but they really came how I can redefine my success and define my success and talent and be really persistent at things I wanted to achieve. I was not the traditional girl. My father only has 2 daughters, and he always said, "You are acting like a boy." Yeah, I wanted to do these things. I played football. I am powerful. I have a voice. I wanted to become this big manager, and I've done everything in my path to do things. And I always said, norms, what are the norms? Norms are there to be broken, and you have to define your own norms with respect for cultures. And I always empower everybody around me to do the same. I ask them the right questions so they can find the answers for themselves. Once you are in balance with this, like your historical obstacles you can have, what the limitations are, you can redefine your success, your true success. Next. Of course, this comes with an awful lot of challenges for yourself. I'm a very confident person. In the meantime, I'm already 50 years of age, so I had already a whole track. So you get more and more confident. But to be confident, what do? Is I read a lot. I surround myself with other female roles. We do talk a lot. We have like a monthly get together with a glass of wine where we can whine and say, "Oh, what's going on?" And I struggle with that. But in the meantime, it gives us so much energy when we go out of there that it increases our confidence to go and talk to the world and say, "Hey, that's me, and that's who I am, and that's how I want to create wealth. That's how I want to create impact. That's how I want to be a role model." So you need to create your confidence with support of other people. So doing that, I can see I believe in myself and I believe in what I can achieve. It's always on the horizon, and I make sure I can achieve this. Now, you have women in diverse fields. You have to look for yourself what does touch you. Is it politics? You have strong women in politics. You have women in business. You have women in science. So we have many women that are already paved the way for us. So yeah, you take for yourself what you want, and these strong women try on a day-to-day basis to inspire us. So get every day a pinch of this inspiration, and it will move you forward. It doesn't matter in which field. You don't need to say, "Oh, I'm a nurse, I need to go in the nursing field." No, sometimes it's good to look at somebody from the politics, how she communicates, how she expresses herself, or even somebody that's in business that you have nothing to do with. Because at the end, we all busy with the same thing. We want to be visible, we want to have confidence, we want to cave the road for other people. So it doesn't matter from which field you are. Just choose some people that you really look up for, and then you can take their example, and as from that example, you take what you can do and you create your own path again. Next, Tarush. So what is now, we discussed that quite a lot. What is now the benefits of this diverse leadership? We have already lots of things that have been discussed, like if it's only males that are deciding about a company. If you look at companies and their total figures, how they realize figures, you can see when there's a female leader in that they have better financial benefits. They can create a better innovation. They take more balanced decisions. Women are more looking at caring for companies. They don't go bold in, they are more looking at culture, people, and trying to turn that into financial figures. Guys are more busy with, we need to do this. They are not scared. They just move forward, and they don't do damage control. We tend as women to do more damage control. However, saying that, it's extremely difficult. Also, figures prove that it's extremely difficult. For example, if you have a startup or you want to grow through and you want to really make a company and you want to collect money from VCs, we see that we don't seem to get the money. So this is also, again, breaking a boundary, being seen, being heard, prove that you can do something, be bold, tell what you want to achieve what you want to get. So also for your company, if you need to go to a VC to present yourself, what I do, I get trained and mentored by a guy, because we need to speak sometimes that language to get the same results. Although it's against our nature, sometimes we need to do that. And if you, once you step over that, you will see you create for yourself. If you have a company, you will create bigger and better companies, because we really know as women how we can do this. Next. We also see women are very much busy with impact on governance and society. They want social progress. We are busy like girls need to go to school. We need to make sure that girls get part of the society. We want a stronger governance. We want to get things better. We want to get things get right. We want our representation in the policies. We want to make new perspectives. But this is for me one of the things we are still facing hard work. I'm also one of the teachers in Hoogland and in the Dubai University. We do see there daily we need to take the girls with us, women with us, to progress and to make them heard. I'm very pleased to be in the Middle East, where they do give the voices to women on a political stage, on this financial stage, but this needs still a lot of work done. So big shout out for everybody. If you have a vision in society and governance, just get seen, because we get heard. We need to have the right tone of voice. Next. For me, it's really a call to action. So every woman, please support each other. Please make a tribe. So we champion women leaders. Be supportive. Don't be jealous. Look what she does. And so you can learn from each other and bring each other to a higher level. For me, day to day, I mentor young people. I mentor young women in work, at work. When we do the HR projects in companies, I encounter many women that are struggling to juggle really their jobs, their household, but are really supportive and mentor them, trying to understand that sometimes things can't be in balance. Chasing every day the lucky life, the Instagrammable life, that everything is in balance, is not the reality. But if they see that I'm struggling sometimes, and they see that you also move forward in life and are much forward in life than them, they really look at you. So we need to challenge, we need to mentor these girls so they know it's okay. Everybody has a struggle. And of course, I'm a strong advocate of having gender equity in the companies. You need to be heard. Don't settle. Prove yourself. I strongly believe in meritocracy. If you've done something, if you've done a project, just prove it's from you and not, oh, I give it to the manager that then goes and walk away with all your merits. No, make sure you be heard. So, but women, we need to support each other in all this and help women to get in the spotlight. Next. So we need to create this supportive environment. You need to encourage ambition. Some women have really bold ambitions. You need to support them. Don't talk them down. Let them do. Let them face it. Just get them in contact with the right network. As you can see here, I'm always surrounded with powerful women. Promote that they belong. Amplify those voices. Put them in the spotlight. I'm always doing that with people around me. I'm very proud of every woman that's around me that brings me to another level, but also they have a voice, and I make sure their voice gets amplified. I have a voice, but I also have a voice, and amplifying together our voices makes us really, really powerful in this world. So this is one of the things I really want to live by. So empowering the next generation is, you are powerful, we are capable, and you are needed. This is a seed you need to plant in every girl's head, because it's a can-do mentality. Every girl can watch somebody, but every girl is powerful. Every girl is capable, has the talent, has the knowledge, and everybody is needed in this society. So that's my advocate for women, the future of leadership. So please create your tribes. Make sure you enhance the voices of other women, put other women in spotlight, and mentor them. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kathleen, for sharing your valuable perspective. I really love how you have given these examples from your personal life, and we have already started this session with a very empowering speaker. So thank you again, Ms. Kathleen. Moving on, we now turn to our first panel discussion, challenging the beauty and standards, how media shapes women and girls' self-worth. This panel will discuss the impact of media on self-perception and the unrealistic beauty standard it often promotes. Moderated by Ms. Lama Atui, our panelists include Ms. Subha Rakesh, Director of Cognizance Academy for Chess and Vedic Math, Dagmar Turkova, VP of MEBAS and co-founder and COO of Innova Global UAE, Ms. Sonia Hadi Al Mazrouki, founding board member of Subway UAE, and Ms. Nada Al Ghazar, CEO and founder of Upskills Advisory and Coaching UAE. Together, they will explore how to foster a more inclusive and empowering environment for women and girls by challenging these prevailing standards. Let's begin this insightful conversation. Over to you, Lama.
Good morning, Tarushi. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today again on Women's Day. Happy Women's Day to all the women around the world and all the women attending this conference. It's a very important topic today. So for decades, media has been influencing the way we perceive beauty and often promoting unrealistic ideals that shape the self-image and the confidence as well as the identity. So from advertisements to social media, the pressure to conform to certain standards can be always overwhelming. But as conversations around inclusivity and authenticity gain momentum, we're seeing a shift towards more diverse and empowering representations. So today we will be exploring the impact of media on beauty standards, the challenges that persist, and what can be done to foster a healthier and more inclusive narrative. And we will begin with Ms. Nada. Good morning, Ms. Nada.
Very good morning to everyone and happy International Women's Day to all the beautiful women out there. I'm so
Happy
glad to be with you,
International Women's Day to you too.
all of you, and it's always my pleasure to be collaborating on these kind of great events.
Thank you, Ms. Nada. Ms. Nada, my question is, how do unrealistic beauty standards affect young girls' self-esteem and mental health?
Let me begin with the low self-esteem, because when we speak about beauty standards and comparisons, you would develop kids at a very young age who are not having the strong self-esteem that they need to have. They would always feel like I'm not good enough. They're always comparing themselves with someone else. So they will start to have like this subconscious mind of like, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, and they always to try harder and harder and harder, which could lead definitely to burnout. So when we speak about beauty standards and all the time that these kind of comparisons, especially on TikTok, on Instagram, on social media, they would always put themselves into the mode of I'm not good enough. And this is a self-limiting belief that they would grow at a very young age. As well, the body image, when we speak about the body image and how comfortable they are in their own bodies, they would always have like increased anxiety, and we can see a lot of autoimmune diseases happening now, which are so much related to the subconscious mind, the connection between how they think, their language, and their gut health and their overall health. This all starts with how they think, their thinking patterns. And as a specialized PCC coach in NLP, I would say that everything starts with thoughts. Thoughts and their subconscious mind is 90% of their communication in everyday life. So when we speak about destroyed thoughts and patterns, they would grow at a victimizing themselves. They would have this vicious circle of always feeling that they are victims. We would see also emotional eating, and emotional eating habits that they would have. We can see so many kids at a very young age that they are comparing themselves. They are always wanting to be thin to accommodate with the beauty standards. They might not be very well nourished and not take the right food, which would lead them to having anxiety, depression, emotional eating as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Nada.
Again, one more thing, their self-worth would be tied only to appearance, because the self-worth should be tied to who you are. It's not your appearance. So when we see these kind of things happening in beauty standards, it always tied to appearance.
Of course. Thank you very much, Ms. Nada. Ms. Dagmar, good morning.
Good morning, good morning, all ladies there. Happy International Women's Day.
Same
I am
to
so
you.
glad to be here. Thank you.
Same to you. Ms. Dagmar, how do beauty and fashion brands now contribute to unrealistic beauty standards?
Yes, that's question, right?
Yeah.
I think, like the beauty and fashion brands have a big impact on how people, especially women and young girls, view beauty. So many ads and social media posts show models with perfect skin, slim bodies, specific features like clear skin, big eyes, a
Yeah.
small nose, full lips, high cheekbones, and so on. So making these look like the ideal. Yeah. However, many of these images are edited to remove imperfections, making the models appear more perfect than they really are. And this can this can make the bad feeling for the young ladies, women, women, that they need to change their looks to match these unrealistic standards. So advertising often focus on appearance and making women think that beauty is the most important thing. Many brands use celebrities and influencers to promote their products, which can make women feel pressure to follow certain beauty trends. So should the social media makes it even harder, as it constantly shows images of perfect looks, which can make it difficult for us women to feel confident in their nature appearance. And I can see it that every day, because I have two girls, two daughters. One is 18 and the other is 22. And they are constantly influenced by this perception of the perfect look. Yeah. So they don't feel like accepted sometimes. They don't feel that they look right. They don't. So I actually completely understand, agree with Mrs. Nada, that she said that everything should start with thoughts. And actually the media and ads are giving us those unrealistic thoughts. So I think we can see the movement that recently some brands have started to show more real and diverse beauty. They use models of different body types, skin tones, and abilities. And some avoid editing even photos to make them look perfect. So I think this helps people to feel more accepted and confident in their own skin. And I think this is the step in the right direction. And but on the other side, I still think that the beauty and fashion industry still have a long way to go in changing how beauty is defined.
It just started very recently.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Nada. Ms. Shuba, good morning.
All the amazing women here, and happy International Women's Day to all of you. And I express my thanks to Blue Ocean and Bowl team for once again inviting me to this prestigious event on this special day.
Same to you, Ms. Shuba, and thank you for joining. Ms. Shuba, do you think that social media empowers women by allowing diverse representations, or does it actually reinforce this unrealistic comparisons?
Social media, does it empower women or does it hold us back? The answer is, as we all might expect, is complicated. Think about it. Social media has given women a voice like never before.
Yeah.
We can see women from all over the world with different backgrounds, with different experiences, sharing their stories, running businesses, leading various movements, and inspiring others. This is a very powerful platform. It allows even young girls to see their role models they might never have been able to see before. It also helps to break down the stereotypes and shows the world the diversity of womanhood. We can see women, no, they can come and forward, support each other. They build communities. They find their voices. We have seen Me Too, that move, which showed the power of social media to bring about the change. And I feel when women raise their voice, they can create a wave of support and demand justice. And this is empowerment. But always there is another side to this story. Social media is always filled with images of perfect bodies,
Yeah.
perfect lives, and unattainable beauty standards. And this can lead to comparisons and feelings of inadequacy. And sometimes it may make us feel that we are not good enough. And the pressure to present a perfect online persona can be overwhelming and leading to anxiety, maybe depression, and a disordered view of reality. And let us not forget also the online harassment and abuse that many women face. It is a real problem, and it can silence many voices and discourage participation. So what we have to do is we have to be aware of both good and bad. And we have to teach ourselves and our daughters to be critical thinkers. And we have to remember always that social media is just a snapshot and just not the whole picture. We need to support those platforms which promote diversity and combat online harassment. And I always believe that we have to celebrate the real women around us and not just these filtered images on the screen. So let us use social media to empower and not compare. Let us use this to connect and not to isolate. And let us celebrate the diversity of women around the world.
Thank you, Ms. Shuba. This is very inspiring. Thank you very much. Moving to Ms. Sonia. Ms. Sonia, do you think that today's media's representation of women is more inclusive than before, actually, or are we still promoting unrealistic ideals?
Good morning, everyone. Happy Women's Day.
Happy
Thank
Women's
you
Day
for
to you too.
including
Thank
me
you.
in this wonderful panel. Thank you so much. It's a big question, and a lot of my colleagues have responded fairly to say it's improved a lot, yet the image starts at home. How do we look at ourselves? How do we talk to ourselves as women? And if we have young children, young siblings, it just gets applied over from the start of the house. I think we need to start focusing from the home first and put the focus on something other than our physical attributes. It's great for us to emphasize you have beautiful eyes, you have beautiful nose, but also let's talk about how are you handling your English, your math? What are your strengths other than your physicality? And we can all change the standards. There is further inclusion of different body types, skin colors, but we as women need to shift from beauty to the inner beauty we all carry, the inner strength we all carry. And that starts from the home.
Of course. Of course. Thank you very much, Ms. Sonia. This is really inspiring again. Going back to Ms. Dagmar and the role of brands and advertising specifically, do you think that brands and advertisers can be more responsible in promoting healthy self-worth?
Yeah, so I definitely agree with Ms. Sonia, like that we should start from our homes, even when we have daughters. We should influence them as a parent or as a mother, myself as a mother, as a role model for them. But on the other side, it's very difficult for them because they are they can see the media, social media, and the marketing campaigns and everything everywhere, right? It's everywhere. So it must be really difficult for them to navigate themselves through this, especially when they are when their self-esteem is very low. So I think now it's very crucial for us, for especially for the campaigns and the brands to involve in their promotion, to involve more, like show more like real diversity, promote self-love, and then the support the mental health as well. So like brands can talk about mental health and how it affects the self-worth, and so on. Of course, there is also the side of influencers, and so I think it should be like, like to partner, like for the brands or for the companies, to brands with partners with influencers who promote self-love, like who can like promote the body positivity and mental wellness. And these influencers should share the same value as the brand and help spread the message of acceptance and authenticity.
Yeah.
And also to show that the body appearance is not the most important. The important is what is inside, right? How we feel, how we interact with each other. So that's yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Dagmar. And building on that, I have a question for Ms. Nada. How beauty pressure influences career choices, confidence, or social interactions, actually? I think she got disconnected by mistake. Okay, I'll move on to Ms. Shuba again. Ms. Shuba, how can individuals and influencers use social media specifically as a tool for self-love rather than self-criticism?
So it is something deeply personal and profoundly powerful, that is self-love. In our digital world where social media often amplifies insecurities, how can we transform these platforms as tools into tools for self-appreciation or self-affirmation? So first of all, we have to curate our feeds, unfollow those accounts that make us feel negative, and follow only those which show real people or real lives. We have to remember actually that our worth is not defined by likes or followers. And we can share our own story. We have to be realistic and real. Embrace vulnerability, share our journey, maybe the highs and lows, our passions, our struggles, because authenticity always resonates. It creates genuine connections and reminds us that we are not alone. Practical mindful consumption means before scrolling, we had to ask, how will it is going to make me feel? And if it is anything negative, just step away. We had to prioritize our real life experience and connections over the digital validation. And influencers, they hold immense power. So they have to use it responsibly and promote mental wellness, self-acceptance. Sometimes they had to share the behind the screen moments that will reveal the human side of seemingly perfect lives. So on this International Women's Day, let us choose self-love online, and let us use it to cultivate self-love and not to tear ourselves down.
Exactly. I can totally agree with you. And going back to Ms. Nada, my question was like how beauty pressure influences our career choices, our confidence, or our social interactions as well.
Lama, those who are being very much, under the pressure of having the beauty standards, they would probably not appear or any in leadership positions because they wanted, to make themselves validated by the social around them. So you would find women who are not going into leadership positions or into fashion industry, for example, because they would fear themselves under the spotlight all the time. Those who are always on the TV and TV presenters and all of these, public speaking positions. It's very hard when you are always comparing them. It's very, very, I believe it's very hard if you set your mind that you are being compared with other people around. So this would really put a lot of pressure on your career choices. But again, it's you need to choose who you are. If you are an authentic person, you would want to have an authentic position without, you know, being pressurized by all these kind of beauty standards. As well, we can see also the fear of judgment, you know, and fear of rejection. So many ladies would have this kind of always I'm not good enough, and the imposter syndrome as well. You know, I need to always give and always to show up in a way that is acceptable by the society. So you will see also some of the mental health issues like imposter syndrome, which is number one in so many places now talked about, the imposter syndrome, and how much that you feel like you're not validated enough, and that you need to give more and more and more all the time. We will see also the validation on social media, as Ms. Shuba was saying, also the pressure on the social media from outside and the constant need of validation would also affect our career choices, because again, if you are a person who's dealing with social media so much, you would want all the time the validation from outside, which is never happening to be you know, making you an authentic person. You would always seek the validation and recognition from outside, which is also very hard and would lead to burnout.
I agree as well. Thank you very much, Ms. Nada. And based on this, I want to ask Ms. Tonia, what is the role of influencers and celebrities in reinforcing or actually challenging the beauty norms? Ms. Sonia?
Hello.
Yeah. So my
Yeah,
question
I'm with
was
you.
about the role of influencers and celebrities in reinforcing or challenging the beauty norms.
That's not an easy answer. I'm not an influencer, but what we see is a lot of influencers, and unfortunately, it's all about dollars and cents, isn't it? If you're correct me if I'm wrong, but its bottom line is dollars and cents, and this goes to businesses that will go for X woman or lady or man to market a perfume or cosmetics or a lip gloss that'll fluff it and puff it and make it pink and blue, and you know, you'll smell like this if you use this perfume.
Yeah.
And the businesses choose influencers with X number of people. So all this conversation is interrelated. The number of likes you get then as an influencer will position you to make more money, to become a marketing affiliate for X brand. You see what I mean? So
Of course.
it's the entire world. We are interknitted into how we all share the responsibility, and not only think about how am I going to make money, how am I going to elevate this perfume, this product, this lip balm to a 13-year-old or to a 25-year-old. And again, we have it for a 60-year-old woman. It's selling hope over the counter. Use this eye cream and your wrinkles will go away at night. Really? So it's I mean, tell me, how many times have we gone to the market to buy something to make us look white, make us look brown, give us a tan, give us a, you know, fluffy lips, you know, you're older, you're younger. From everything we touch, what to eat, what to drink, what to wear, it's all influenced by media, which is influenced by products. I think unless and until we don't change the core of our being, I'm sorry, I don't see a rainbow.
I can again totally agree, and this is my question actually also to Ms. Dagmar about the brands and advertisers. How can they actually become more responsible in promoting a healthy self-worth instead of, you know, the very idealistic image of women? Your microphone is muted, Ms. Dagmar.
I know we try
Sorry
to
about
do
that. Sorry about it. So it's very difficult question, right? Because as Mrs. Sonia said, every a company they want to have a profit. They are not here for the customers,
For our well-being. They are here
you
to
know.
make us more and more consumers.
Yes.
Exactly.
So I think it's really we as a consumers have to shift the mind, right? We have to shift the mind towards to have some products which are really for our benefit, for our prospect. So I think for and then of course the company will go with the flow and they will change the strategy how they are selling the products as well. So that's probably the first one. The second one is, okay, we can see with the younger generation that now they are influenced, they are surrounded with the social media, but they want more like products which are sustainable, they have some other benefits and so on. So it's slowly changing. And then also the campaigns for the promoting the products are changing. We can see some, like some campaigns about the diversity, body positivity, inclusivity. So there are some small changes and differences. But the question is if those campaigns are a real change or if it's just marketing for them, still just marketing. So I think on the one side, it's still marketing. It's still marketing, because they are following the trends and so on. But they are also shifting a little the view as that they start to showing models of different sizes, skin tones, abilities, and background. So there is kind of making the space for it. But still, I think it's still up to talks rather than action. So it's still lacking.
Still in the beginning.
It's the beginning, but if it's the beginning because just they want to sell the products and they can see the gap, that it can be the way how to sell it, or if it's beginning of the shift of mindset, that's the question. Yeah, and that's what I think we will see in the future, if or not.
I think we will have to wait and see.
I think we will have to kind of wait and see, but definitely from our consumer, we can put some pressure on it. And I think it's about self-acceptance, self-love. That's the main. And that's what I am saying to my daughters, like the self-love.
Of course.
Whatever is the main. It's the best gift which you can give to others, to love yourself.
Of course. Thank you very much. Ms. Nada, coming back to you again, and from a psychological perspective, is there any warning signs that media-driven beauty ideals would be negatively affecting the mental well-being of the women around us?
Yes, cosmetic doctors complain that there are so many kids at a very young age coming to them seeking for cosmetic procedures at 14, 15.
Oh, wow.
They start the Botox at 16 and they want to do at 20, something that is being really very, very ununderstandable. I cannot understand that. How can a mother leave her child going to ask for something like that, So it's also about the self-recognition inside the house and home when it starts with families. I shouldn't be comparing one sister to the other. I shouldn't be comparing you're beautiful enough, or you have this curly hair, or this wide eyes, or whatever. This is so important as a message to mothers. You need to be accepting all your children as they are. Never compare that this is more beautiful. And we can see that happening, starting with the families, like this is tall, this is small, whatever, kind of like beauty standard that they're setting for themselves, and they start comparing cousins or families together or whatever. So this needs to start at home. Bullying Bullying could start at home, could start at the schools. We can see so many warning signs of kids being bullied because whatever kind of standards they put, that this is a beauty standard, and you can see how much this is causing a lot of anxiety to the kids, especially at a very young age, and this could lead to suicide. And we have seen so many kids being suicidal because they are being bullied at school, because of whatever beauty standards is being put on them. Definitely. So we could see also the negative self-talk when kids are starting to have negative self-talk, and the drama triangle, which in the psychology we say, like, this being in the drama triangle means they are not empowered enough. They always have a persecutor and victim and rescuer. So the kids together, they play different roles at a very young age, and this grows with them as adults. If I'm always rescuing my friend, or if I'm always persecuting them as they are bullies or whatever, you would see this drama triangle happening at a young age, but also at a very later ages. So these are all warning signs that we need to be very careful about. If it's happening, we need to stop this cycle. So I always say it's a generational trauma. If it starts with one generation, it could lead to other generations. So we need to break the cycle of any kind of toxicity, any kind of validation, or bullying, or whatever it is. So this is also one of the warning signs as well. When we speak about the obsession with appearance, when I'm always obsessed with my appearance, this is also a cycle that we need to break and be sure that it starts with home, as we always say, as a message with the mothers.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nada. I hope that women around the world would be listening to these warning signs and paying attention to their children. And moving back to Ms. Shuba, being young yourself, Ms. Shuba, what's the advice that you would be giving to young girls on navigating social media without letting it dictate their self-worth?
I would like to mention few points which has to be we have to be careful about. First, remember that social media is like a highlighted reel. That is, social media is very loud and bright, but it is not our ruler. People usually only share the best parts of their lives, making it look like that everyone else is perfect. But that is not the reality. Even everyone have flaws and struggles, even if they don't show them online. So don't compare yourself behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. And secondly, be mindful of what you consume. Already mentioned that if something is we feel bad about, just unfollow it. Our mental health is more important than keeping up with the trends of people who make you feel inadequate. So curate your feed with positivity and inspiration. And thirdly, focus on your own strengths and passions. What makes you unique? What are you good at? Invest your time and energy on those things. Social media can be a tool to showcase your talents and connect with others to share your interest. And fourthly, remember that our worth comes from within. It is not based on others' likes or follows or comments. You are valuable just as you are. Spend time with those who love and support you in real life. Get off the phone sometimes. Run outside. Chat with your bestie. Hug your mother. That is where the real love lives. And those relationships are far more important than any online validation. So if something makes you feel sad, stop and think. Does this know who I am? No, you are not just a flat picture. You are alive, full of dreams, with giggles and maybe sometimes tears. That is perfect and natural. So if it goes too noisy, just turn it off. You are one of a kind girl, strong, smart, wild, gentle, all of it. So no app can tell your worth. Be you, loud and proud every single day.
That's so beautiful. Thank you very much. Ms. Sonia, just to wrap up this discussion with final thoughts, what are the steps that can specifically families take to reshape the beauty run narratives for their children, for their girls, for their young girls, let's say? What's the role of families here?
Thanks. Shuba, I really liked what you said. It's empowering. Thank you. To come back to the question, I think it always starts with Self-worth, it starts in the family, but what goes on in our brains, in a young mind, even, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're 60 years old or 14 years old, we all have insecurities. And as my colleague rightly said, we need to surround ourselves with people, for other people, that we find love, we find encouragement and empowering. The negativity and the sound should be stopped. So we are always in a positive mode. Listen, do your meditation and listen to empowering podcasts. Start
Yeah.
your day with positivity, and your circle of friends should be empowering and pulling you up, pulling each other up and encouraging each other. And avoid and delete people and apps and anything that's negative around you. Your vibe, your personal vibe should be 100% positive, and that'll draw other positive people around you.
Thank you very much, Miss Sonia. Miss Dagmar, one last question for you specifically is about the media. If there's one thing you would change about how media portrays beauty, what would it be? One thing.
Oh, one thing. It's a really difficult. Thank you, Lama, for that. But as I said, like, probably they should promote self-love. They should promote the real diversity, self-love, not to focusing on fixing or changing how we women look, but more on the encouraging self-love and acceptance of each other. That's.
Thank you very much. And last question to wrap up this discussion is to Miss Nada. Miss Nada, how can women challenge beauty standards in their personal and professional lives?
Start with your thoughts. And an NLP advisor, an NLP trainer, everything is a thought pattern. So if you're having self-limiting beliefs, you need to identify your self-limiting beliefs and work on them at a very, very instant way, reframing your self-talk to a very good, a positive one. Any kind of negative thought that is coming up, reframe it into a positive thought. And again, is about your values. Stand up for your values, because everyone has different values. If you are having this beauty standards as one of your values, I'm having my beauty standards as being empowered, being achiever, being heard, being impactful. These are my values. And so many women, they don't know their values. They don't know their strength. So if you're speaking about your own strength, and your unique strength is about something, what I always say is about Johari's window. If anyone heard about Johari's window, I encourage everyone to go and look for Johari's window. Is that blind spot that you don't know? You don't know that you're having so much potential, but you're not seeing it. You're always comparing yourself with this or that. But
that's right.
You need to really love yourself as you are, because you have so much potential, so many talents that you're not even recognizing. So this is, the first thing is about your self-talk, your self-image, and how you're comfortable with your own body. So when we work inside out, everything would reflect about our beauty. It would reflect on us. If you're not happy inside, it does definitely affect our health, and we wouldn't be even attractive to anyone. So I will end with the energy flows where the attention goes. Whatever your attention is, your energy would come accordingly. So if you focus too much on beauty standards outside, the flow of energy would come, and it wouldn't be favorable to you. Thank you so much.
This is so amazing. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Miss Sonia, Miss Nada, Miss Dagmar, and Miss Shuba. It was a super duper amazing panel discussion. Happy International Women's Day to all the women around the world, and specifically those attending this conference. I wish you all the best, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lama. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lama. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Over to you, Tarushi.
Thank you so much, Lama. Thank you to all our panelists for this engaging and insightful discussion. Your perspective on how media shapes women and girls' self-worth was extremely eye-opening. Like our panelists said, let's change the core of our belief. Let's choose self-love today and be you loud and proud. So moving on, we are moving to our next keynote session, which is financial freedom for life, teaching girls and women to build wealth and independence. We all know that financial independence is key to empowering women and girls, enabling them to make confident choices and secure their future. This session will emphasize the importance of financial literacy, wealth building from a young age. Welcome, Ms.
Thank you, Tarushi. Hello, everyone. It's truly an honor to be here today on International Women's Day, celebrating the strength, the resilience, and the achievements of women worldwide. Today, I am very much looking forward to talking with you all about something deeply important, which is financial freedom for life. Specifically, how is it that we can empower girls and women to build wealth and independence, ensuring that they have control over their financial futures? So why is this topic so critical? Because financial freedom, it's not just about money. It's about having choices. It's about having the ability to walk away from situations that don't serve you anymore. It's about being able to say yes to opportunities that align with your values and your dreams. And ultimately, it's about having the confidence to make financial decisions that put you in control. But here's the reality. Women still face significant challenges when it comes to building wealth. Women tend to earn less, they tend to invest less, and they tend to save less, yet they do tend to live longer. But the good news is we can change this. Financial independence, it is within reach, and it starts with education, it starts with action, and a commitment to supporting the next generation of financially empowered women. Next slide, please. So let's take a moment to reflect on why financial freedom is so important for women. Because when a woman has control over her finances, three things tend to happen. The first one is she gains independence and security. Financial freedom, it means having the ability to make those choices that align with your life goals. It means never having to stay in a job or stay in a relationship or stay in a situation because of financial constraints. Women are still paid less on average than men. As a woman, naturally, a lot of women may take career breaks for starting families, for caregiving other family members, which impacts her long-term savings and her future savings for retirement. And without that proactive financial planning, it can leave women really vulnerable later in life. And the way we handle money, it directly influences the next generation. If we don't teach our daughters, our nieces, young women about financial independence, they may face the same struggles that we are overcoming today. And just a question to get you all thinking, let me ask you, how many of you were explicitly taught about investing or wealth building growing up? Because for many of us, financial education, it was just never something that was prioritized. If anything, we were actually taught to be careful with money rather than how to make it work for us. And this is naturally, it's a cycle that we need to break. Next slide, please. Now, despite progress, women still face significant barriers when it comes to independence. So some of the biggest challenges, the first one, which I've already touched on, is a lack of financial education. Many women, they weren't taught how to budget or invest or to grow their wealth. Schools don't always cover these topics, and financial discussions in families often focused on savings, if anything, rather than building your wealth. In a lot of households, financial decisions are still primarily made by the male. Even successful, high-earning women sometimes hesitate to take control of their finances and they naturally just defer the decision to their partner without fully understanding their options. Or they do understand their options, but in comes in that confidence cap. Studies show that women typically are less confident about investing, even though when they do invest, they tend to outperform their male counterparts. But this hesitation again means a lot of women build their wealth in their cash savings accounts in low interest, which is depleted by inflation over time, rather than having the confidence to go out and look at, okay, how I'm working really hard for my money. How can I make my money work hard for me? But the good news is, when it comes to those barriers, they can be overcome with education, strategies, and most importantly, a shift in mindset. So how do we ensure that women and future generations become financially confident and independent? It starts with 3 key strategies. The first one is super important, and it's financial literacy. Financial education, it should begin early. Schools should be teaching children the basics of budgeting, wealth building, investing. If they don't, then it's taking that responsibility upon ourselves by sharing the knowledge within our own families and our own communities. Encouraging women to earn, to save, and invest. Financial independence is not just about earning money. It's about what we're actually doing with it. So women need to feel confident, whether it's negotiating those salaries, whether it's investing in their futures, and making strategic financial decisions for themselves and their families. And the third point I would say is leading by example, which is super important as well. As we've touched on a lot in the previous sessions that we've just heard, representation really matters. You know, when young women, they see other female role models successfully managing money, and it doesn't matter who that could be. It could be business owners, it could be investors, it could be other professionals, it could be anyone, but it just normalizes that financial confidence. So we need to be, we need to feel comfortable to have those open conversations about money and encourage one another to take control of their finances. So practical steps to achieving financial freedom. So what is it that you can actually do to kind of start on that path if you're not already? It's really important to understand that financial freedom, it doesn't just happen overnight, but it's really important that you do take those small, consistent actions, because that is what then helps you build that long-term security and that independence. So 4 key steps that every woman should take as a minimum to start building that. The first one is budgeting and saving. So the foundation of financial independence, it starts with understanding your income and expenses, because too often we focus on earning the money, but then we're not actually tracking how we're using it. So how can you do that? Create a budget that works for you. And it's really important. A lot of people, they hear the word budget and they think, oh, it's going to restrict me, but that's not what it's about at all. It's about having that control over your money. And you can do that. It doesn't need to be super fancy, whether it's a notepad, an Excel spreadsheet, just track where your money is going. One tool that really helps my clients is the 50-30-20 rule. So what that represents is the 50% is allocating 50% of your income to your essential spending, 30% to your social spending, because it is still important that we enjoy and live our lives. And then 20% saving towards your longer term goals. Those numbers aren't specific. It's not what everyone should follow, but it just gives you a little bit of direction on how you can best plan your finances. And the other thing, which is super important, is building an emergency fund, because we all know life can be really, really unpredictable, and financial setbacks can happen. So aim to have at least 3 to 6 months of your expenses in an account that's separate from your other accounts. It's instantly accessible. So if there are any emergencies, you have that money earmarked for that. You're not having to dip into other investments that are earmarked for your future goals. You're not having to, rack up debt on credit cards or loans. You've kind of planned for an unforeseen circumstance. Investing early is really important. So I have a lot of clients that come to me and say, I don't have enough money to start investing. But even small amounts consistently can grow significantly over time. You know, for example, investing as little as kind of $100 a month from the age in your kind of late 20s, by the time you look to retire, it could have grown to 6 figures. And overcoming the fear of investing. A lot of women hesitate to invest because they just don't understand it. They think that they need to be experts to do anything. But, you know, whether it's you start educating yourself, start simple as well, or speak to an expert, speak to a financial advisor and get some help to get you set up on your path. And finally, be consistent and think long-term. Investing, it's not about getting rich overnight. It's about that long-term growth. So make sure you stay patient. And, you know, when it comes to investing, any market ups and downs are completely normal. So don't let that deter you. The third step you can take is planning for your retirement. So as I've mentioned, women tend to live longer than men, which means we need to save more for our retirement. Yet many women just naturally delay planning for their later years. And as I've mentioned before, the sooner you start, the less financial pressure that you'll face later in life. So understand your pension and your retirement options. If you're employed, make sure you're contributing to a pension or retirement fund. If you're self-employed, explore private retirement savings. Increase your contributions over time as well. Even if you are in that position where you're starting small, aim to gradually increase the percentage that you're saving over time and just make sure you review what that means for you in your future. And thirdly, don't rely on your partner's retirement plan. You know, whether you're married or you're single, ensure that you have your own retirement savings, because financial independence, it means having the security regardless of your relationship status. And then finally, building financial support networks. We don't have to do this alone. Having a community of women who discuss money openly, share their advice, and support each other, it's key to staying informed and empowered. So join any financial communities, whether it's local networking groups, online forums, workshops. Just surround yourself with like-minded women who prioritize their financial growth. That even may include finding a mentor or an accountability partner. Talk about money, you know, can feel really intimidating. It's something that people kind of shy away from, but having someone to share your goals and your progress, it can really help you stay accountable and stay on track. Next slide, please. So we've talked about why financial freedom matters, the challenges women face, and the steps we can take to build wealth. But the real question is, how do we make lasting change, not just for ourselves, but for all women? Because for too long, women have been conditioned to see money as a source of stress rather than a tool for power and opportunity. And it's really important that we look to shift that mindset, starting with ourselves. You know, we need to stop apologizing for having that financial ambition. Women are often made to feel that if you want financial success, it's seen as greedy or not feminine. But financial independence, it's about security, it's about freedom and the ability to live life on your own terms and not being reliant on anyone else. So it's really important that we encourage financial confidence. Women tend to just naturally underestimate their financial knowledge, even when you're just as capable as men. So let's commit to building that confidence by learning, by asking questions, and making informed decisions. Financial freedom, it doesn't just happen in isolation, and we do need to create that safe space where women can feel empowered to talk about money. So as I've said, have those open conversations, whether it's with your friends, your daughters, your colleagues, your family. Share those lessons, share the resources and experiences. If you have made financial mistakes, don't be afraid to discuss them, because you just don't know the effect and that might have on someone else for making those same mistakes. And And then just building a community of financially empowered women. Join networks where you can share financial knowledge, investment opportunities, and ideas. Make sure you're always staying connected and keep learning. Women Like Us is a network that I run with my colleague, which is all about educating women and helping them build their financial security and independence. So I have popped the QR screens on the QR code, sorry, on the screens. So again, it's just giving you a place to start where you can go to get some knowledge through workshops, webinars, etc. And we all have different starting points, but the most important thing is to start, right? If you haven't, it's never too late. So have a think about what's one financial step that I can take today. It might be opening a savings account. It might be even just setting a financial goal or educating yourself about investing. Pick one of those things and commit to doing it within the next week. And also have a think about what's one way that I can support another woman's financial journey. It could be sharing a book, having a conversation, or simply just encouraging another woman to take control of her finances. And thirdly, accountability matters. Life is very, very busy. And, you know, we all have a list of things that we have that we want to get to, but with how busy life gets, sometimes those just slip down the list and it's something that you never come to. So with anything that you're doing, write that down. Whether it's your financial goal, write that down. Check in on it regularly because it just helps you hold yourself accountable. Next slide, please. So financial freedom, it is just more about just numbers. It's about choices, opportunities, and the ability to design a life that you truly want. We don't have to do it alone. It's all about building a future where women aren't just financially secure, but they do feel financially powerful. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Amara. Ms. Amara Shafiq is a chartered financial planner at Skybound Wealth Management, and she has shared her expertise on financial freedom for life. Ms. Amara, your insights on building wealth and independence were truly empowering, and I'm sure they have inspired many of us to take control of our financial futures. And I know for a fact that it has really inspired me. So thank you so much for sharing your insights once again. Moving on, we all know that education is the key to breaking generational barriers and empowering women, affecting not only individuals but entire communities. It builds stronger societies where women can lead, inspire, and contribute effectively. With this in mind, our next keynote session is titled Breaking the Cycle, Educating Girls, Empowering Women, and Transforming Generations. In this session, Ms. Annabelle Harper, Director of Change Connections and Executive Leadership Coach, will share her insights on how education transforms generation of wealth with effects that extend beyond the classroom. We look forward to hearing from you, Ms. Annabelle.
Thank you very much, Tarushi, for the introduction, and thank you again for inviting me to join you on International Women's Day. It's a great privilege to be here, and happy International Women's Day to all the amazing women attending this session today. So it's been fascinating hearing what's been going on this morning in terms of, what all the topics are. And I'm going to take this out a little bit and go slightly bigger here, because all we're talking about is informing and educating. And it's really important to think about how we educate girls, how this empowers women, and how it transforms generations. So that's going to be where I'm focusing on about learning. So next slide, please, Tarushi. So what is it about learning that's so important? Why is learning so fundamental to everything we do? Why do we care about education? We have this biological impulse to learn. You think about babies who touch and taste when they're still only a few weeks old. They're learning, they're making sense of the world around them. And this learning impulse drives us, it motivates us, it helps us to continue to make sense of the world and people and what's going on around us, the sights and sounds. It is fundamental to who we are. Next slide. So, you know, you plant these seeds. It comes in many forms, but the key point is that the more it's nourished, the more our desire to learn will grow. And this all is linked to what Carol Dweck's research found, which shows the importance of having a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. Next slide. So some of you may have come across this already. So what she found was that a fixed mindset means that we believe we've got as far as we're ever going to get. It sometimes produces a bit of closed thinking. It might mean that we're playing it safe as well. But if we have ideas and dreams and aspirations to go further, even if we think we're doing okay, a growth mindset means knowing that there's more to learn and being willing to experiment and explore and to reach out and connect. And opening yourself through learning can take you to so many places. Next slide, please. We know that every child has a right to education. And let's remember the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. Sustainable Development Goal 4 is about ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all by 2030. So this is for everybody. And then there's Sustainable Development Goal 5, which is about achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls. And for me, this goes hand in hand. These two goals are joined. Now, next week sees the start of the 69th UN Commission on the Status of Women in New York, and I'm lucky enough to be attending again as a virtual delegate for UN Women UK. And over the next 2 weeks, the Commission is going to be reviewing the progress of this agenda and the current challenges. And given the state of the world currently and what's going on all around us and how volatile everything is and how unclear everything is and unpredictable, it's going to be very interesting to see what comes out of the next fortnight. Next slide, please. So, looking at educating girls, I think that this is really quite a shocking statistic, and I want to give you just time to look at it. We're talking about 1.4 million girls deliberately being denied access to secondary education. And if we know that every child has an inherent right to education, we have to act now. And the Education Cannot Wait ECW organization, which is under the umbrella of the UN, and it's a fund for education in emergencies and long drawn out crises. It says we need to act to help the number of school-aged children in crises worldwide requiring urgent support to access quality education. There are 234 million children, boys and girls. But nearly a third of those children are out of school. And the most impacted are refugees, internally displaced children, children with disabilities, and girls. In Gaza, education has been put back by at least 5 years because of the current conflict there. And as Nelson Mandela said many years ago, it's not just about education, it's about so much else too. It's where we can go, where girls can go if they have access to education at the beginning of their learning journey. Next slide. So if you look at empowering women, you know, what happens when you do empower women? Look at what's happening in the MENA region. The growth of female entrepreneurs is incredible. Forbes' 100 most powerful businesswomen in 2024 features women from a vast number of sectors, including financial services, banking, healthcare, technology, science. These women are empowered because they've had education. It doesn't need to be right up to a further education level either, but they have been informed, they've learned, their learning, their wish to learn has been allowed and empowered. And next slide, please. So why does this matter? Well, we know from the World Economic Forum figures, it's going to take 134 years to reach full gender parity across the world at the current rate. And this is 5 generations beyond the 2030 targets. That's how long it's going to take. But if you look at educational attainment in the Middle East region, the gender parity is already at 97.2%, which is absolutely fantastic. And women, as we've seen, are making huge strides. Education is where it begins. And then these women can roll out their experience to others. And this is how they can transform the next generations. It's about building our communities. We've already heard this word, building your tribe. In order for women to thrive, it's about learning and sharing and collaborating. This is the way to transform. So how do we do it? Well, we do it a lot already. Next slide, please. So it's about networking. And if you don't like the word networking, think of it as having a conversation. Ask what other women did to set up their businesses. Ask how other women navigated through their organizations, if they're in an organization. Learn from their experiences. Be curious. Ask them, what could you do? And keep asking yourself, why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for? Think about allies and supporters when you need some perspective. Who's your go-to person? Who's your wise elder? Who's the person that you can tap into to give you some support and some advice and point you in the right direction? If you ask for help, very often you get it. And the way we communicate and share with others, the way that we listen, helps our very clever brains to access what's called neuroplasticity. And this is the way we can access our neural networks. It can help with rewiring, but importantly, it helps people to change. And that means changing opinion and also doing things differently. So we need to be able to feed this back so that those girls and women in places like Afghanistan, when they do return to learning, we can all be there to help and support them. Next slide. I want to show you a quote from Hillary Clinton, which she actually said many years ago, but I think it's a fantastic quote. She says, "I've always believed that women are not victims. We are agents of change. We are drivers of progress. We are makers of peace. All we need is a fighting chance." And the theme for this year's International Women's Day is Accelerate Action. And I urge you all to accelerate your actions in education, empowering and transforming, and be the change. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Harper, for your insightful and inspiring session on the transformative power of education and empowerment. We greatly appreciate your valuable contribution to this vital discussion. And like Ms. Harper said, let's all fight for change. Thank you once again, Ms. Harper. Moving on. Gender equality is a collective effort that requires involvement from everyone. As we move to our next panel discussion, we'll focus on how men and boys serve as powerful allies in breaking down barriers and advancing the movement for gender equality. This panel, moderated by Dr. Dalia Geet, SIVA consultation, will explore the crucial role of allyship and envision a world where equality is reality. Joining the discussion are Ms. Neve Bridoy Jordan, CEO and founder of the Bridoy Jordan Group, Ms. Tala Al Ansari, Executive Advisor at Atoyle UAE, Ms. Salma Kannan, Senior Faculty at Blue Ocean Corporation. We really look forward to all your insightful contributions.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you are fine. My name is Dr. Dalia Geet. I am a consultant and trainer, and I'm a GM of a company, a consultation company. I have a long experience in national and international companies, and we dealt a lot with our session today, with our subject. With grace and gratitude, we come together today to celebrate International Women's Day, a moment to honor the achievements of the women, acknowledge the progress made, and recognize the work still ahead. Today, as we reflect on the journey, we turn our focus to an essential piece of the equality puzzle, the allyship equation, engaging men and boys in the fight for gender equality. Because true change happens when gender equality is seen not just as a woman issue, but as a shared responsibility. Allyship is more than just support. It is an action. It is about challenging biases, breaking barriers, and using privilege to support others. In this discussion, in this panel, inshallah, with our colleagues, we will explore what meaningful allyship looks like, why it matters, and how we can create a future where equality isn't just an aspiration, it is a reality. So now we will start with Salma. How are you, Salma?
I'm very well, thank you so much. It's
Okay,
a
welcome,
big
Salma.
pleasure to be here. And I would like to wish all the beautiful ladies out there a very happy International Women's Day.
Thank you, Salma. Okay, let's start with your thoughts. The gender equality isn't just about empowering women. It is about shifting the mindsets and the behavior across society. With that in mind, I'd love to hear your thoughts about some points. Number one, what should men do when they see gender discrimination or unfair treatment?
Thank you so much. That is an amazing question. So, as I always say, as I'm a trainer, and I always say life is going to put us in circumstances that are beyond our control, but the reaction is completely up to us. So, we want men to actually work with us, accompany us, empower us, and support us on this journey. They are aware that there is a gender equality issue out there because it's going on for hundreds of years. There is a fear factor. As humans, again, we don't like change. And for them, this is a very big change. So the challenge is the change itself. They need to embrace and accept this change is very important because, see, they have different points of view than we do. We look at things differently. They have different perceptions. So they
Yes.
look at it from their side, thinking, what if the woman is better than us? Because it's
Yes.
been known and proven, we have statistics that show when women come into organizations, there is more innovation, there is more creativity, there is more profit. So they're
True.
like, okay, what if we support her and she comes here and she takes my role? So they have this sense of fear still lingering there. And then they
Yes.
have another fear. So I talked about the fear of change. They don't want to change. And again, we all know, even us as women, we don't like change.
Yes.
It's like against our norm. Change is difficult. Even when you want to change your job, you want to change your car, you want to change your home. So imagine changing your perception and your mentality altogether. So it's a big challenge for them. Then there's a fear of criticism. What if this is not accepted? What if society, by the way, this goes not only for men, it's the society, the environment around these men, and these thoughts that we put in their head, starting from a young age, when boys are born. They're
Yes.
born into the world, especially on our side of the world here in the Middle East. You see that it's still there. It's a male dominant society. To a certain degree, yes, it has gotten better. I can talk about myself. I come from Saudi Arabia. I come from Jeddah. I am so proud to see now how much the role of women has changed. Back in my days, I could do nothing without my brother or my dad. Okay, I couldn't, nothing by
Yes, I know
law.
that.
Yes.
Yes.
Now I can drive, I can do all my paperwork, I can go to government offices. So this is the equality that we want. We want
Yes.
this change to continue and to grow.
Yes. Great, Salma. Thank you very much.
Most
And that
welcome.
leads us to our next point. We often talk about the importance of allyship, but real change happens through action. In every space, every workplace, communications, and daily life, there are men who step up to support gender equity in meaningful ways. So, for Neve, hello, Neve.
Good
Have
morning. How are you?
Good
Good
morning. How are
afternoon.
you?
Good.
Neve, can you share a time when a man showed strong allyship for gender equality? How did his action make the environment more inclusive? And what impact did it have from your experience?
So thank you very much, Dr. Dalia, for that great question. And happy International Women's Day to everyone. What a wonderful day to celebrate us, the best of us. So I'm very happy. I have a good news story where I have had direct experience of allyship, whereby a few years ago I was involved in a business network and I approached the board, who were predominantly men, and asked could we set up kind of like a women's sector within the group. And fortunately, they were very receptive. And I think there's something there around our approach as women in helping them understand, being clear, showing empathy, and sometimes just going in, sometimes less is more.
Yes.
And they, as I said, they were very much welcome to the idea and they amplified. So they used their role, which was very much in leadership, to advocate the purpose of the Women's Network and the sector, and they ensured that the initiative got the support it needed. There was that element of trust, I believe, as well. And I think it's down to good communication. So they were very clear around the vision, the mission, the goals, and they were part of the journey. So there was this lovely co-design of the initiative and keeping them involved, but also leading. And it actually transpired that the women's sector grew exponentially, and they could see the value of the women being more maybe out there within the organization, and they could see the value add. But I think it was definitely trusting, the allyship was around communication. And I think the impact was in terms of the empowerment, creating a thriving business network to value everyone, not just one gender over another. So in actual, we are stronger together. And I think there's something around that to encourage and to have the confidence sometimes as well to approach and ask, because we are not mind readers and men are not mind readers. Women are not mind readers. So just being very clear in what you want, doing your homework, doing your due diligence, and I suppose influencing with, evidence or facts and benefits. So kind of like a business proposal, really, and creating that buy-in. But I definitely think it's that co-design, that it's together we can create. And I believe that men have a very important role to play, and that we won't do it on our own. We need them. We need them. But it's bringing them into the fold in whatever way that looks like. And I think sometimes using our own high emotional intelligence to influence, to persuade in a maybe non-directive way as well.
Yes. Excellent. I like the word. We should co-design the framework together.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, and your great answer. Thank you, Niamh. Okay, and let's go to Tala to ask her a question. Tala, building a more equal world starts with action, both in how we raise young boys and how we support women in leadership. When we introduce gender equality early and encourage men to be strong allies and work, we create lasting change. Okay. Let's discuss with you, Tala. How can we teach young boys to support gender equality from an early age?
Yeah, thank you so much, Dalia. I think it's really great that you pointed out the importance of starting with boys at a young age. That is the right place to start. That is when their values get shaped, and their values tend to influence their behavior in school or even in the workplace later.
Yes.
So if we look at young boys are shaped by what they see at home, what they see at school, and nowadays what they see in social media, which is where a lot of time is being spent. So if we start with home, we need to realize that at home, we need to lead by example. Boys are shaped by the values that they see, which their parents practice in the household. Are they in a house where boys and girls are treated respectfully? Are they in a household where their mom's opinion is being valued? Having this in place means that they will take this with them to school and to the workplace later.
Yes.
If we look at the second point about school, all of us have had a point in our lives where we were influenced by teachers, which we spent a lot of time with, who taught us many things. And so teachers should also role model the importance of gender equality, the importance of embracing the power of both male and femininity, and also not just embracing this in the classroom with students, but even outside when they do activities. So we should always keep in mind culture and religion, but if there's a boy who wants to paint and a girl who wants to play football, let's make sure we build those opportunities as well.
Yes.
And the third thing I want to say is I always say that history is shaped by its writers. And if we think of the times we spent at school, a lot of the role models we learned about in history class were men. Albert Einstein, President Lincoln, and others, even in the Arab world. When did we learn about any women who did something through history? I frankly don't remember anything on that space. And so I had to go and research for this information. And it was very interesting to learn that the first university in the world was created by a woman called Fatma Fahriya. The Wi-Fi that we're using right now was created by a woman called Lamar. AI,
Really?
which is now booming. Yeah. So
First
I
time
mean,
to know
and we
that.
should be really grateful. Like all these things had started with women. And then even AI, which is really booming right now, the first coding was done by a woman called Ada Lovelace. So women have had very influential roles and have really contributed to history, but we're not learning those in school. So it's important for little boys and even little girls to see those stories. So, some speakers earlier mentioned the importance of little girls having role models to look up to, but for little boys, because that's what your question is about, if they realize and learn in school that women through history at harder times have contributed so much to the world, they would realize the value of women and what women can do.
Yes.
And the last component I touched on, which was social media and leadership in a nation. If we look at the UAE, alhamdulillah, we're very blessed with our leaders in this country, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed and Mohammed bin Rashid. Their daughters are out there playing crucial roles in the country, leading on the Ministry of Culture, leading a polo sports team. So they're walking the talk and intentionally sharing those examples in social media to create this influence in culture and society, to show young boys and young girls that, women can do all this. They have great value to add and a big role to play in society. And as a result of that, the UAE has managed to have, 50% of its parliament being women, 28% of its ministers being women, and Expo 2020, which I was part of, was led by a woman as well. And that was one of the biggest biggest events our country ever hosted.
Yes. Thank you very much for that, and we see that in the UAE also, and we also see that in KSA actually. I would like to thank special thank for the government of KSA, because as Salma said, I lived here years ago, and I was since I was a child, and I noticed the difference between before and now. It's alhamdulillah a huge difference, and it will be more and more effective for women to be a leaders and to empower women in the society. We see that day by day, and I'm proud of that also very much. Yeah. Okay. Alhamdulillah. And the other notes, Tala, what about the effective ways from your point of view for men to support women in leadership and decision making at work? Because you said we start from the child, we start from the young man. So this young man, if he will be in the work and he deal with me as a woman, what is supposed to be after all of this, after your effort with him as a child?
Sure. I think men can do a lot in the workplace, actually. So before I joined our panel, I was going through the participant list, and it was really sad for me to see that there's almost no men who are part of this conversation that we're having today. And that is a big part of the problem. That is a big part of the problem, right, Dalia? Because our conversation is about allyship. And I don't think that a lot of what's happening is intentional. I think men are not aware of some of the biases that are there because of how the world was designed back then. So men can really do a lot in the workplace. It starts by being intentional. So if they see that there's a biased behavior happening in the workplace and they're a leader, a CEO, or the chief, they should call that out, handle that diplomatically, but really point it out so that other men realize this behavior is not going to be tolerated and that we want to create a culture of gender equality.
Yes.
I think that they should definitely amplify the voices of women. So I used to work in oil and gas earlier on in my career, and it was a very male-dominated space. And at a really young age, I was part of the strategy team. So I had to go to the big board and chief meetings where big decisions were made. And many times I was the only woman in the room. And so they would have a lot of conversation, and I wouldn't even get eye contact back then. And I made sure to always share my opinion and, have a voice in that meeting room, because I felt I was doing that not only for myself, but on behalf of other women, to show that we have ideas, we do look at things differently. And if we are there while policies are being shaped, that we can make a difference. And an example of that was they were discussing maternity leave and other things. And I had to point out that, you guys are designing something for women, but there's no woman here helping you decide on this policy in the organization. So how do you know what women go through? And it's having, but the conversation shouldn't really be this difficult. So having men who are there to amplify the voices of women, give them a seat at the table when these important decisions are being made, I would say is crucial. And the last point I could share around this is later on in my career, I joined Expo 2020, which was led by a woman, Her Excellency Reem Al-Hashimi. And it was very refreshing to see not only the company being led by women, but we had women leading at chief level, at VP level, at director level. And this really showed me that in that organization, there was no glass ceiling. 50% of our workforce was women in the Expo. So, we were trusted with the UAE's biggest project and we delivered, and there was no glass ceiling. And that was very helpful and very powerful, even in my career, in terms of growth. And that's something I'm very grateful for.
Okay, thank you very much. We learned a lot from you, Tala. Tala, inshallah, will be represented to our to women all the time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neve. Do you have a fruitful ending, Neve, for our meeting, for our panel?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Jalia. So I'd like to invite the participants who have joined us here today. So Promundo is a leadership development group who is very much advocates for gender equality. And in 2021, they carried out a study that 85% of men globally believe that gender equality is important. But my question to you today is, what percentage do you think of these men actively participate in activities to promote it? So they believe in their head. And today, the word that's coming through for me, it's about action. Yeah. So there is no learning without action. So 85% believe in their heads that gender equality is important. But my question to you today, what percentage do you think are actively involved in promoting it and actioning it? Pop your response into the chat. I do have the right answer, which I'll share, but I'm just curious to understand what everyone is thinking. So,
It's an interesting question.
Yeah. So we'll just get the chat going. I'm going to allocate maybe 30 seconds for that.
Okay. Or they can write it on the message also.
Yeah. Is the chat open? Tarushi? The chat open?
The chat is not open to
No.
all, but just give me a second while we open it. In the meanwhile, can everyone, while we are opening the chat, because it's live, it's going live as well. Meanwhile, you can send your chats to me and I'll instantly be forwarding it to you, Neve.
Oh, fab. Yeah.
Okay.
So I hope you have all understood the question that Neve has asked. I'm waiting for your responses. Please send it to me, Tarushi.
Okay. I'd like to thank you, all of you. Mashallah, amazing women with us. Mashallah, very amazing, Neve and Tala and Salma. Thank you for your contribution and your amazing answers. I would like to thank you also, Tancho and the Blue Ocean, to get us all this nice challenge. To be with you, inshallah, and inshallah see you in other yani panels in the future, inshallah, and more effectiveness and empowerment for the women, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm seeing, thank you for that, Dr. Jalia. So just in response, I'm seeing 10%, 30%. So I'll give you, it is a little bit higher actually, which is good news. So people are actually, looking 40%. The actual answer is 30%. So that was bad. So maybe like 2021 is a few years ago. So hopefully we might have increased a little bit, but the response actually was 30%. But it's a good bit away from 85% who think it's important, but we need action. So maybe a call to action for all of us here today. What can we do to support and encourage action from our men counterpoint parts?
Thank you, Neve. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for all. We are in time now.
Thank you so much to all our panelists for such an insightful and thought-provoking conversation. Your perspective on allyship and gender equality are truly valuable. And like our panelists have said, let's bring the change in the boys before they become men, so we will have good allies in our workplace and life. Moving forward, we have an exciting workshop titled The Confident Leader: Owning Your Influence and Personal Brand. This session will focus on how women can leverage their unique strengths and leadership voice to significantly amplify their impact. Ms. Bahar Selman, founding partner and executive coach at UpHuman, will guide us through essential strategies to enhance leadership skill and build a resonant personal brand. We look forward to hearing from you, Ms. Bahar.
Thank you so much for everyone. Actually, Tarushi, thanks for the introduction. After all these esteemed speakers and lots of topics to touch upon, in this next, let's say, 50 minutes, I would like to put all of ourselves into a position where we already have lots of thoughts in our minds, but through the coaching questions, actually, I wanted to turn this into a workshop. That's why it's a workshop. So before I introduce myself, I would like to encourage you, if you have pen and paper, like sometimes the best way to meet ourselves is just writing. So anything is coming to your mind, I really appreciate and I really recommend you take your own words, write your own words, take your own notes. That's why you can have screenshots, of course, but I always say the more you write with your own words, the more you internalize. Especially what we need to do, we need to internalize our power as women. I would like to start this. We are not just celebrating women today. We celebrate the power, we celebrate resilience, leadership that each of us bring to the table at work, in our families, in our daily lives, especially from ourselves. As women, we have multiple dimensional identity. And I always use this metaphor, an octopus. We are like operating like an octopus, you know, we have lots of hands, we have lots of identities, and we are shifting. My name is Bahar Selman. I'm a leadership executive coach, corporate trainer, former global marketing leader. And I really that wanted to hear today, just as women, we are often taught, work hard, let your results speak for themselves. But today's world, leadership is not just about what we do. It's about how we position ourselves, how we own our influence, and how we tell our story. And I feel, and I know, and the statistics shows that actually, as women, we are tend to downgrade, or sometimes tend to overlook our own stories, our own accomplishments. That's why once we look at the rate, how women feel confident about themselves is relatively lower than men in many studies. There are lots of studies around that. So today, that's why in the workshop, I would like to talk with you simple 4 parts: the essence of confidence, crafting your personal brand, decoding the professional image, and leveraging social media for personal brand. Of course, in this each topic, what is really important for us, going back to ourselves, and we all have our own personal brand. And then this brand is there, right? Even you are aware of it or not, the brand is with you. But the question is your branding and your personal marketing, because you have that brand. But what is the degree of your power to unlock your personal brand? Because you have that brand. As women, actually, this is something that we have been disconnected from our own real true selves, and which is actually our personal brand. I would like to briefly about my own story. Actually, I have been many hats in my life, but the one thing that actually bring me today was my marketing career. So before involving in learning development, I was a marketing professional, and I worked with big multinational organizations, and spent my 20s working like an hamster on the treadmill, and spend 12 hours, 13 hours. And I really noticed that, you know, like being in the tough environments, working for big companies, being in front of everyone. And I found myself in a situation like, what's the point? Like how I came here? Like, what was my initial goal to choose marketing? Like, which was actually my curiosity and the creativity behind the marketing world as a woman. And I realized, like, I really sharing all what I have done, and everybody is really aware of what I'm doing in for these brands. And then I changed actually my mindset. And I realized that my other male counterpartners, they are sharing their stories easily. And they are taking the advantage of sometimes being man. Even just we understand, like, if you need to command the room, you need to really like a little bit masculine. You really need to command the room. You need to be direct. You need to be X, Y, Z. And now what we are seeing in most of the time is a woman, in order to climb the ladder and have a CXO role or be in the boardroom, you also need to be that, that kind of, and we define confidence with being that masculinity. I'm not against anything, and I don't like to put people in boxes, but you understand what I mean. And once I understand it, actually, I integrate it in my practice. Last 4.5 years, since I moved to UAE from my own original country, from Istanbul, I am helping people and professionals and teams actually in different ways, through different channels, to unlock their own potential. And one of the key things that we can unlock our potential and unleash our confidence is actually understanding our brand, creating our branding, and at the same time, actually, how do we market selves in an authentic way? So let's start with the confidence. So I always say the essence is confidence is something does not come through nature, or it comes from come by birth. Actually, when we look at the studies, we are seeing both. So it's not like 100% conclusion on that. But the thing is, nature has a big impact on, of course, we sometimes incline to have some kind of a personality more being due to our protein, our DNA structure to be more confident, but our nature has a big impact on our self-confidence. And how I define self-confidence, actually, for me, each individual, the degree of how we believe our abilities in life in some certain topics defines our self-confidence. But this self-confidence is not something like, it's just like always there. I always call it like we need to look at self-confidence in different dimensions. One is natural self-confidence. I call it like natural confidence, that how do you feel about yourself, regardless of the topic? How do you feel about self when you are continue your life journey? Do you have a sense of like, even that we don't know, we don't like unknown, but even the unknowns and changes, like you feel like, I will handle this. How often do you feel this? I want you to also go and ask yourselves, like, how often do you feel that you are telling yourself, I will handle this? This is what I'm calling, this is the concept that I created. So like natural self-confidence. But also sometimes due to transitions, due to new challenges, we feel like we are in a, where we feel like we are on a slippery ground, like we are not sure about like what we should take the next step. We were not about the topic 100% about what we are going to say. And these moments totally fine. And it's just like not something that is not enough evidence that we can label ourselves, I'm not confident enough. So we need to, as women, once we are facing any kind of challenge, and once we are facing any kind of criticism, or once we go beyond the societal norms, whatever society we are in, we started to feel like I'm not good enough. It's much easier for us to be triggered than men. We will easily trigger it. So that's why I want you to understand it's really okay sometimes just feeling like, based on the situations, based on the challenges, feeling that not 100% confidence, because you are new to the situation, you need to learn more, you need to experience, and it's totally okay. But it doesn't make you a person who has lack of confidence. So labeling or understanding this is situation, circumstantial, is totally different. Let's align on this. And I want you to understand, like when you are continue your life journey, your career journey, having that sense of, I will handle this, I will do it, is something that I call like a natural self-confidence measure. But based on the topics, you may feel like, for me also, there are some topics I feel really self-confident. Some of the topics, I know that, like, maybe not that moment, but I also knew in my own career as well. And I also help lots of women in my coaching and training practice as well, that I help them, or we work together to tackle lots of topics. Initially, they label themselves, I'm not confident, I'm not good at, I'm not good enough. So that's why it's really important. And one thing that we also, women have more tendency to think as a mindset is being perfectionist, or being being all the boxes we feel like we need to check. We have we have lots of identities, and more than men. Possibly we expected to work hard. We expected to serve all the family. Also, our beauty standards we talked today, all of them, this octopus lady becomes, and this octopus has lots of arms, and all of these actually turn into criteria that we set ourselves. And society brings something, and when we own it and put in our skin, and we will put in our identity. That's why I really wanted to bring this topic. Sometimes it's okay to feel, and it's normal. If you always feel 100% confident about every topic, I will challenge you. Because there are in this world, in this AI world, that everything becomes, it's impossible to know everything. It's impossible. Even you are going to, if you're in the phase of a new promotion, there will be again lots of topics, and the people before you, they also had lots of topics they actually learn, and which is really important. Today we talk about previous speakers, like growth mindset. The growth mindset is the mindset that I haven't learned it yet, but I will do it. I know I will do it, instead of I can't. So I just wanted to tell you this. And like, have you ever feel like 100% believing yourself? And if yes, how did it feel? It felt amazing, right? Write it down. Like, it felt really good in your skin that I will probably, if you go back to your life, in your career, or maybe the moment when you became a mother, there were some moments actually. Also, I knew that parenting also and motherhood triggers a lots of sense of guilt is another topic. I forgot to tell, because my marketing career, last 5 years in my corporate career, I was head of global marketing of a global baby diaper brand. So you can imagine what my job is: understand all this across the nations, understand what women care about, what they think about themselves. And the one thing also, the research also shows that, but I also witnessed that it was the guilt. The major feeling is guilt. But once we feel ourselves, we are putting guilt aside. So as women, one of the things that we need to understand, what are the moments that we feel ashamed, what are the moments we feel guilty, because this is something we have more tendency than men. And then we need to understand those moments and seeing them as an opportunity, and finding the way to turning them in these proud moments. We need more proud moments than we need that shame moments or the guilt moments. Guilt, all the emotions, if we look at these emotions and if telling us what this guilt is telling me about myself, and if I use these emotions instead of sticking them as a way to move forward, to create that confident ladies, like they have the inner peace, it just can really serve us. So that's why that we need to be sure about these myths about self-confidence. When I'm afraid, I won't feel afraid anymore. It's totally not like, the thing is, when you are feeling afraid or nervous, is a normal reaction to take a risk or trying something new. What we need to think about, for example, instead of this, how we can reframe our mind. In fact, if you feel this way, it could be a clue that you are doing something really matters to you. Once we have some emotions, we need to learn, we can learn a lot of things from our emotions. So if I could not think about someone does not feel never ever afraid, this could be a lie, I think, because we always, and once we're faced with something new to us, something also we have our survival mechanism, and we don't like unknowns. We said it before here. So that's why it's totally, and when you are feeling confident, your reaction, your approach will change. You can feel initially afraid, or inside of you can feel nervous. It's totally okay. But how do you react how you behave is the matters, you know. The emotions come and go as long as you don't put it to your identity. If you tell and you call yourself, I'm actually a coward, or I'm a person who always afraid, which is probably not true. There will be some circumstances, probably you're feeling that feeling afraid, but it's totally okay, right? And confidence also, if you don't have it, you cannot gain it. Just like more helpful mindset, like remind yourself there is no such thing as an absolute reassurance, self-assurance. Expect your feelings of confidence to fluctuate your daily experience, and realize that nobody is confident every aspect of their life. It's also normal to go through periods of self-doubt from time to time. It's something, it's a skill. Self-confidence is a skill that you can, is a product of your mindset, right? And I think today, many times we highlighted today, other speakers highlighted our mindset, the way we think, as our cognitive abilities has a big impact on our behaviors. So that's why the what you are thinking about yourself has actually we can change it, we can reframe it, and that's why confidence is something also we can develop throughout time, and it can fluctuate, as I mentioned. It's totally normal. At the same time, if I feel confident, then I must see myself as perfect. Actually, we also need to be very careful about going to other side, which the self-confidence that I am talking about is the natural self-confidence, which knows that accepts our vulnerabilities, our strengths, is not a way of narcissistic expression, you know, and then it's not like saying that I'm perfect. That's why we need to know that this is something that self-confidence is something that we can all access. Our personal belief system, as I mentioned, the way we think, the way I phrase it is like personal belief system has a big impact on our lives. And then as a byproduct of this, imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome, it became a very well-known topic as well. Maybe some of you, maybe you haven't heard it, but imposter syndrome is actually what in the shortcut. You are a really successful woman or a successful person, human being, and you are really having hard time to accept and internalize your experience of believing that you are not as competent as others perceive you to be. So what I mean by that, for example, you are really imagine you actually recently promoted to first time in a senior role in the company, and you are thinking that, you know, like it's done because of I am a woman, because of the diversity inclusion initiatives. They promoted me because they need a woman in the leadership area. And then you're thinking that, you know, I just actually had this promotion because there was not anyone in the team. And then, you know, my area is really specific. That's why it's really helped me to get this promotion faster. You are finding excuses, basically. If you find yourself, how you can detect it. If you are finding yourself finding excuses in order to not accept your own well-deserved accomplishments, you may suffer from imposter syndrome. By the way, this is not a psychological, I want to say, like, it's not a psychological problem or something, just like a concept. Imposter syndrome, name itself, like, oh, I have this syndrome. Most of us, I had it. As I'm telling you, I was just thinking about, like, it's not me because it's the right time. It's not me, especially when you look at the history. If you do a little bit research, you will see most of the politicians, athletes, especially women. Men also have it, like we tendency, but it's a form of our insecurities, is a form of our self-doubt. And then what happens once we have the imposter syndrome? For example, you are feeling like, okay, I'm a fraud. You don't call it yourself, I'm a fraud, but you are telling, like, you know, I got this because of X, Y, Z, and these are my reasons, because that make my life easier. And I need to work harder than before. So they don't understand that I'm a fraud. They don't understand it. They don't catch me. So what are you going to do? We will see compensating behavior of this thought. We were thinking that we don't deserve it. Initially, is the root cause of this imposter syndrome, my friends. One simple thing, especially what we are talking about, all the essence. What is the real essence? Most of the time, people feel undervalued or they feel like they cannot promote their value. Actually, we don't accept our self-worth. We are not aware of, or we don't want to see our own value. We don't accept our value. Once you don't accept, or once you are not acknowledge may be a better word, acknowledging our contribution to the universe, our contribution, our value, the value that we bring on the table, and our business, our ideas, value of our ideas, what happens? Actually, even the other soul, the talent, or the other soul, probably we cannot unlock that personal brand. And even we and probably because of our hard work, we are climbing. And well, even though we leveled up, we felt ourselves like, I should do more. I need to prove myself. I need to do, need to be super strong. I need to do more. I'm not telling you here, stop working, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying that since we don't acknowledge our value, we are always finding ourselves to compensate our missing part, which is actually is not there. We are thinking that we have the missing part. So this is the importance. Imposter syndrome is a byproduct of actually not acknowledging our own worth. Actually has a big impact on our self-confidence and makes us really fragile as well. And we work more than the others so they don't understand. They should understand I'm a fraud. We don't call it, but we think that they will find our mistakes. And especially what I see when I'm coaching leaders in our region, what I usually see, the woman actually has less acceptance for any mistakes. They have higher fear of rejection than men. They don't want to make any mistakes. When we are talking about any kind of mistake, once they are there, they don't have that much tolerance. And how do they call mistakes? By the way, it's another thing. Like what is mistake, what is not, is another topic. What really matters to me that we should understand actually the moments, key moments, or the next time when somebody is going to tell you something really good, I want you to feel proud. I really want you to feel proud. And the best way of this, actually, carrying a pen and notebook with you. And once you feel that, like once somebody said to you, like, you are really good, X, Y, Z. And instead of saying that, thank you. Actually, it just didn't take so much time. Or once you put something really nice and somebody says, you look great. But we say, oh, really? I just spent 5 minutes. Okay, but just instead of this, like, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Just say, thank you so much. Once you get something really good appraisal, once you had something really nice and everything, instead of creating excuses, and then grab your pen and notebook. And the best way to articulate, the best way to understand, and the best way to get rid of the thoughts in your brain is putting them into writing. So just write, like, what do you feel that moment? How do you feel that moment? What is the feeling? What is the trigger? And then what are your thoughts about yourself? And then challenge it. Like, is it based on the facts, or is it based on my perception? Is it really serving me? How does it impact to my potential? So that's why you should have, every woman need to have lots of notebook only for themselves. We have lots of notebooks. We are buying these colorful pens to create our to-do list for work, or creating the plans and everything, or shopping list. But when it comes to ourselves, like you need to have your best corner. You need to have a cafe that you need to go, and then you need to have a cup of tea with yourself. And this shouldn't be a luxury. This should be something that you deserve, and definitely include your daily activities. And now in this workshop, I also wanted to add that part, especially which I most of the time, what's really people coming and telling me, like, you know, how did you change your career? Like, how you do make it, like, from marketing to becoming a coach, especially and be doing this for a long time now, over 4 years, and people started to see me more and more often. And then the answer is actually what really that we can do in today's world. Either you work for a corporate, and you, or in the future, if you want to have your own brand, if your own business, even you going to have a B2B business, you need to unlock your personal brand. You already have it. You need to know how to brand it, or you need to know the basics of branding, and you need to learn about the marketing, self-marketing. When you are looking at the screen, what do you see? When we put a logo, we can charge more. Why? Maybe similar type of coffee, but we are adding our brand on it. The true branding and true marketing activities, actually, simple products, a commodity, can turn into an experiential place. One of the things is Starbucks, for example. It's an experience. We are creating experiences, because people usually tend to forget facts, but they don't forget the experience that they have. And actually, once we are facing with our target audience, we all have our different type of target audience, people in the house, the people in our team and our leadership team, or other stakeholders, that all target audiences. We really need to be careful about, like, or we really need to be conscious about how do I make them feel? What does the impact, what is the emotion that I create on my target audience? Do they leave the room by smiling, happiness or joy, or I'm someone that people don't want to face with? Is really important. Or do they really, my team is really seeing me as someone is really challenging, or just they are seeing me someone is just like, and just somebody is boring, like, you know. So really need to understand, and this brand on this coffee is just helping them to sell the product 2-3 times more than the price. The reason is this brand, because, and in the future, even you are working for your own corporate role, and you want to, if you want to go to higher level role, and you want to promote yourself, Ayşe, you get a promotion. You first of all need to own your own value, as I said, like most of the women, we need to work on this. We need to own our value, acknowledge our value, and then we need to find authentic ways to promote it, to market it, within or without in the organization. And this should be really needs to be tailored to your style, but at the same time, it's something not usually self-promotion seen as bragging, is showing off. No, it's just speaking up. It's just being very conscious about your marketing, what it means, like your presence, the way you dress, and how you should have an eye on and a bird eye view, and you should be able to see yourself in the meetings. Like if you really look at yourself, do you really promote this person? You really need to making sure that you are really prepared, and all of this comes. And then you create, you have that brand, and you unlock your brand. Once you unlock your brand, actually you can price yourself, and even you are in corporate and your services products at a higher level, because your brand work as a leverage factor. The leverage is the power of your personal brand. And at the same time, the psychology behind of our choices is the familiarity effect. So the more touch points we have, what I mean by that, like it's a mental shortcut we regularly take when making decisions. A strong factor that people affects which people we trust, which brands we become loyalty, which type of music we like. Otherwise, like, you know, you thought about all the big brands in the GCC, and they keep on, you know, Kareem, for example, they are continue their marketing efforts, right? Or all the big brands. Why? Because increasing the touch points, becoming top of mind, and at the same time, actually always being there. So psychologically, the more they become visible in a conscious way, and then this familiarity effect increases. When it comes to our impact on our target audience, our impact on our company. As women, it's really important that sometimes, since we don't acknowledge our value, we stay behind. We overlook the promotions. And what is happening here? Actually, we really need to shift our mindset. We really need to making sure that we are speaking up enough. We are explaining our steps. Sometimes I see most of the time, especially people with technical backgrounds, they have a hard time to translate data into presentation. We really need to work on our storytelling skills. But if we have some kind of the resistance in ourselves, like about self-promotion, first we need to work on that mindset as well. Like we need that mindset. We need to open the doors. And also this is really, really crucial that if you are really started to show up and with either in meetings, asking questions, not just showing the presentation, not just always challenging. We need to challenge status quo. Sometimes I also see that, especially working for many years in the same role, same company, sometimes we also start to label ourselves like, I'm a stagnant person, I didn't change my job. And then what is happening to us? Actually, we stop challenging what's happening in our organization, or challenging the decisions are taking. But the thing is, meaningful way, intentional way. If we put this and we started to show up more, and we started to share our ideas more, and even learning how to deal with conflict, different ways of conflict, changing our mindset from being an avoider to become a challenger. Actually, we will start to see that more people started to understand our own value. So personal branding, definitely, as I said, is a conscious and intentional effort. Conscious and intentional effort, but personal brand is there. But branding, this is where I'm adding, like you have the brand, but if you want to unlock it, you need to understand personal branding. So are you positioning yourself as an authority in your own industry? And when you are looking at your credibility, what are the factors that increasing your credibility, and how you can differentiate yourself from the competition? I think in the world of AI, one thing is really, really good for us. Most of the things like 2-3 years ago that we care about, we taking our time. And now we have tools, programs, and just what is really good that it's all accessible to everyone. But now in this world, becoming a mediocre is much easier than before. But becoming a top performer becomes so much harder, because being mediocre or being an average, all these tools are there, right? And it's just like you go and understand you can solve many problems much easier. When we are looking at content creation, when we are looking at the media production and everything, if you have spent a couple of hours, there are lots of tools outside. You don't need a team. So things in general becomes much more easier, which is amazing. But at the same time, this is one of the messages that I always say, you really need to think about, even you're in a corporate, just started your career as a woman, or if you are in the leadership team, or if you are in positioning the boardrooms, or just like you just wanted to create your own solopreneurial journey, you really need to think about, how can I differentiate myself from the competition? In order to understand this, I really want you to think about a couple of things. First of all, what do you really care in life? What do you really care in business? These are your values. One thing that I want you to think about, your values. Also, you can understand your values when you are looking at the things are really making you angry, frustrated. These are the things also, somebody is suppressing your values. Somebody is going against your values. These are the moments making you really angry. Go and understand your values. You need to, the more you integrate and find spaces that is aligned with your values, you will find more fulfillment. And this fulfillment will drive you for the future, for any kind of obstacle that you are going to face. This is the thing that is going to give you the resilience. Secondly, what are the things are naturally easy to you? These are your strengths. So the new world changed. In the past, the managers or the world say, okay, fix your weaknesses. You know, like, oh, you have the strengths and these are your weaknesses. But the thing is, the strengths are the things you are really good at and you don't spend too much effort. It's naturally coming to you. But on the other hand, your weaknesses probably things you hate, and then the things that actually you are not, you need to put much more effort than an average person to come becoming a mediocre. So I'm not saying that neglect all your weaknesses, but look at your weaknesses and double down on your strengths. Double down on your strengths. So when in your personal branding, when you are thinking about secondly your strengths, what are your superpowers? In your next role, in your next promotion, all in the organization, it's the right space for you to unleash your superpowers. If you are an expressive person and you are really good at expressing, but you are not working with clients maybe, and you are always in the computer, probably you are killing your potential. And there is not perfect time to detect it. Maybe you cannot act on it totally, but your personal brand also your personal brand can be unlocked through doubling down your own strengths. So one is your values, the other one is your strengths. And the third thing that I think you should be all aware of, actually, what are the gaps in the market? What are the gaps in the market? There are lots of competitors maybe, or the leaders in your industry, but what is the gap? The gap could be better customer service. The gap could be even better team management, delegation skills, quick decision making. Really need to understand the gap in the market. And when you combine all of these three things, your values and then your strengths and the gap in the market, actually in any role, any organization, you will find a way to communicate your value properly. That's why SWOT is a very good tool, but you need to be really conscious. So I want to give you right now 5 minutes. I want you to create a SWOT analysis very easily. But this time, I want you to focus more on, you can see my screen, I think. Once you are going to write your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So I really want you to understand your strengths and your weaknesses are related with you. And the opportunities are threats. Actually, they did not happen yet, but they can. Through your strengths, you can create opportunities. Through your weaknesses, there might be some threats, right? So these are the things actually coming outside, and then they haven't happened yet. They are possible scenarios. So I would like to give you 5 minutes, but you have one condition I have. You need to write at least 10 strengths, and the weaknesses should be definitely less than your strengths. Usually people start writing, and you need to start from your strengths. Then you need to move on to your weaknesses. Then you need to look at your opportunities and threats. What is really important, your strengths needs to be at least 10 keywords. 10 keywords. And once you complete this, then you can move to the next one. Okay? So let's grab your pen and paper and write down and create your SWOT analysis, especially 10 strengths. This time, I want to challenge you. Most of the time, people just say, I'm really having a hard time to write my strengths. I write only 1 or 2. I'm not sure about. So now, this time, in the next 5 minutes, I will put myself on mute. And it's your time. I want you to create your own SWOT analysis. Okay? Everybody? Yeah. Are you writing your top 10 strengths? These are the strengths that I want you to celebrate. These are the strengths that are going to bring you opportunities. And I also like to call, like we all call it SWOT, but weaknesses maybe is better to say our development areas, our growth zones, maybe. Opportunities are external things and they might happen, okay? Like usually opportunities and threats, they might be still available to you. So what are the things that come through your strengths? What are the opportunities that your strengths can bring to you? And the threats, of course, like the threats sometimes, or usually what we need to think about are growth areas, like our weaknesses. But sometimes your strengths also can cause some threats. Maybe. I'm not sure. And you need to also think about all the possible scenarios. But I really wanted to tell you this, and then I would like to give you this 5 minutes of your time, because many times you have done this analysis for your business, for your marketing plan. You have done this maybe for your team there. But how many times have you done this to yourself? Very simple exercise. What I recommend you, at least like twice a year, like you are doing mid-year reviews with your team, or also end-year reviews. Why not do it for yourself? Why not just remember, like especially go over your strengths. Maybe you will add new things. Maybe your development areas change. You will see over time and keep track of it. Maybe your own, maybe create only a small notebook for your SWOT analysis and done it with your handwriting. And then you will start to see maybe the opportunities that were looking in the past, like they're not meaningful to you or really you accomplished. And the threats maybe are not threats anymore, your action plans. Of course, this SWOT analysis, after this, there is usually time to time, this simple exercise I still use in my sessions, especially when I started to see that my clients are in a situation where they are not sure and they are really wanted to do something, they cannot make their decisions. So then, once somebody remembers the strengths, once we make ourselves to remember our strengths, our superpowers, we will see energy change. Once people are talking about the things they like, they are really good at, you can understand naturally how their energy change. Really easy. You don't need to be a body expert on that, right? Like you just really see their body, their posture. And then at the same time, we need to do this more often, okay? As women, is very, very nice self-reflection. And also, it's really important that time to time in the friend zones, we really need to share. We need to share our proud moments. Once we see our strengths, we really need to put these and we need to double down our strengths. The weaknesses that we think growth areas, we need to look in a very prioritization perspective. You don't need to be really good at everything, okay? And this is a very conceptual thing. You just need to look at, and you need to ask yourself, how they are really critical that to impact my passion, how they are difficult. Do I delegate with someone else if I have, or in the future? Because to increase efficiency, actually, we really need to find ways to delegate the things that we're not naturally inclined to, right? So that's why I wanted to bring this in our conversation today, and this is really important too, to understand your own value. And at the same time, as I mentioned to you, we have a big personal brand, and this personal brand also includes different type of smaller subsets inside. And one is your professional brand. So your personal brand encompasses who you are, what you do when you are naturally self in non-work life. But your professional personal brand is inside your personal brand and shares some of the similar values. But it's a focus part of your personal brand. You polish up for your work-oriented audiences, which can include recruiters, supervisors, colleagues, clients, customers, students, readers, listeners, depending on your industry and your role. But it's still inside of your personal brand. So you don't need to be someone else. You shouldn't. If you don't, I really don't want to say, when you are showing up, when you are sharing your personal brand, you are sharing your own ideas. You are promoting your ideas. And these ideas, even at work, needs to be your own ideas, your authentic ideas. This authenticity became a buzz term. I know it. But it's actually a very important word, not to be a buzzword. Being genuine, being very confident in your skin, only comes that if you really have the courage to look at yourself and appreciate your own values and who you are. And of course, this is more this is really important, and I want to say we need to decode that professional image when we are talking about how we can brand ourselves. One thing is really important is looking the part. Style is important. It's just not like being chic and trendy. Just leave this behind. Just like the feeling that we are having really, really happy and really, really confident. And the knowledge. Knowledge is really important because it's not only just me being looking confident or something. The essence usually and the easy way to increase your confidence is like you really need to make sure you are prepared. Like sometimes you think that I'm really prepared for this meeting, but go back to yourself. Like you were really 95% prepared. I'm not saying 100% because just like not be trapped in that perfect mindset, but just really need to making sure that you really need to know your products, your job, general information, the question or whatever, really know, like you be really master what you have. Usually people think that they mastered, but actually not. Like if you really master, really spend time on in your preparation, this is the easiest way to increase your self-confidence and reflect your personal brand. Also your emotions, there is nothing wrong to feel some discomfortable emotions because you're human beings and human beings naturally create emotions. But how do you react? Emotional regulation is another skill. I think we all need to understand. We need to understand our trigger behaviors and how these triggered moments makes us feel, the reactions on our body, but most important thing is our behaviors. So our behaviors are the ones the other people are able to observe. So that's why when you are having a stressful situation, maybe instead of stopping talking, just avoiding, maybe just take a break, maybe go to the toilet, or maybe close your camera, use some self-regulation techniques, or breathe some fresh air, and tell yourself like, I am feeling right now anxious. I feel uncomfortable, but I need to speak so we can find a win-win situations. And on the other hand, if you don't find a way to regulate your emotions, if you not become aware of it, maybe you will continue your natural reaction, which is being silent. Usually what we see in the people. And women have more tendency to stay silent than men most of the time, especially in corporate settings, because we are more tend to think about like, I made a mistake. Then I have higher, that I shouldn't make a mistake. We have zero tolerance on that. We have very less tolerance. So that's why emotional awareness and emotional literacy and emotional regulation are the key parts of your personal brand. And of course, integrity, I said to you, integrity, what really matters, your personal brand, your professional brand, your professional brand is inside of your personal brand. So integrity is really important. And I don't want you to be someone else. I just want you to really own the person who you are and find different ways of reflecting it. There is not only one way reflecting and behaving. And the same values can be reflected in many ways. That's why it's really important. And taking ownership. We cannot blame the victim mindset. Maybe we are not in the corporate environments. Maybe our family, we were not very lucky. Whatever happened, right? But right now we are here and we are grown-ups. So taking the ownership is really important. And last thing that I wanted to say, social media, especially power of LinkedIn. And I really appreciate of all of you, all the other ladies. I will share my LinkedIn profile, or if you can go and find me. I would be so happy to connect it with all of you. And then I always find, especially in this region, in this world, when I made my career change and people are telling me, like, how have you worked with hundreds of people in the region? How do you make it? I say, like, they are finding me. They are finding me. Why? Because I'm there. I'm one way or another. Many times in a week, I'm touching their lives. That's why I really believe that the first key thing that we can leverage is our LinkedIn profile. Maybe your area could be Instagram, but I really believe that the LinkedIn is that professional brand of ourselves, is that gives us a really good safe space. So we really need to look at, like, starting from our photos. Like when we look at our photos, like we really need to make sure that is showing our energy, is matching with our personality. Our headline is aligned with our values. And also once we are looking at our summary page, it's really reflecting who we are, how do we help, our career highlights, specialities we have. I can talk a lot of things on this, but most of the time I encourage my coaching clients and people coming to my trainings to just write your first post. You will see the reaction. You will see how many people start to look at your profile. And then most of the time my clients in their even first post, they're reaching like recently, one of my clients has lots of misconceptions about using social media, especially on LinkedIn, and about being visible and fear of rejection. Because she has reflected her personality, and then only for her first post, she get like 100,000 impressions and over 800 likes. I think it's still going up. She was super surprised. But what she has done, she reflected her own knowledge, industry knowledge, and personal style into a post. It doesn't have to be everyone. We don't need to be viral. I'm saying that. We don't need to be influencers. We can. But the thing is, if we want to position ourselves, even we have 1,000 followers, 2,000 followers, we need to deliver value. And one of the ways is LinkedIn. So I think I would like to end here. If you have any questions, always you can reach me out. And thank you so much. Blue Ocean Corporation. It's my second time. I was a speaker as well, 2022. So privileged to be with all of the amazing ladies. I hope in the future we start to talk about different topics for women. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Ms. Selman, for such a transformative and empowering workshop on owning your influence and personal brand. Your insights will undoubtedly inspire many to amplify their impact as leaders. Like you said, wear your confidence with pride, and we are all going to start doing that from today. So thank you so much for that amazing workshop. As we conclude today's session, we are grateful to our speakers and experts who have shared vital insights on gender equality, leadership, and empowerment. From discussion on representation and allyship to workshop on confidence and personal branding, today's event has been rich with conversations aimed at fostering a more inclusive future. To officially close our event, I now invite Ms. Nova Norbert, Head of Events and Conferences, to deliver the vote of thanks. Over to you, Nova.
Good afternoon, beautiful ladies. It's truly an honor to be here today, connecting with so many inspiring individuals from around the world. There is something truly special when we come together, united by a shared vision and commitment. To begin, I want to wish each of you a very happy International Women's Day. This year's theme, Beyond the Horizon, a bold new vision for every woman and girl, challenges us to dream fearlessly, break barriers, and step into a future where every woman and girl has the freedom to rise, lead, and thrive. As many of you know, BOLD is a unique part of Blue Ocean Conferences, entirely designed and led by women for women. It's a space where the power, passion, and leadership of women are at the forefront. At the same time, we acknowledge the invaluable role that men play in championing this mission. Their leadership and support are instrumental in advancing the cause of women's empowerment. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Satya Menon, Group CEO of Blue Ocean Corporation, and Mr. Abdul Aziz, Group Chairman of Blue Ocean Corporation, whose unwavering belief in this vision has made this event possible. Thank you both for being our pillars of strength in this journey. Our deepest gratitude also goes to our distinguished speakers, panelists, and workshop facilitator. Your insights, experiences, and knowledge have truly empowered and motivated us. Each session was filled with thought-provoking decisions, valuable lessons, and ideas that will stay with us for a very long time. Above all, thank you to each and every one of you, our attendees, for your participation and engagement. Your enthusiasm and active involvement have been key to the success of this event. We hope that the insights and connections made today will inspire you to break through barriers and embrace the opportunities ahead. This event would not have been possible without the dedication and hard work of the organizing team and everyone working tirelessly behind the scenes. Your efforts in ensuring the smooth running of this event are truly appreciated. As we wrap up today's event, let's carry this momentum forward continue these conversations, take meaningful actions, and work together to build a more equitable and inclusive future for all women and girls. Lastly, we look forward to seeing you at International Procurement and Supply Chain Conference Dubai 2025, which will be held on April 12 at W Hotel The Palm, under the honorable patronage of His Excellency Sheikh Nahyan bin Mubarak Al Nahyan. The theme, Redefining Global Trade, UAE Shaping Sustainable Supply Chains for the Future, digitally driven, sustainably committed, will surely inspire us to think beyond boundaries. Thank you all once again for making this event a super success. Kindly drop us your feedback in the Google review. We will send you the certificate of attendance through email. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely day ahead and happy Women's Day once again.
Thank you so much, Nuba, for that amazing vote of thanks. Thank you to all the panelists. Thank you to all the speakers for joining us, and wishing you all once again a very happy Women's Day. Please be sure to drop your review on the QR code. With this, we are now ending the session. So have a great weekend, all of you lovely women ahead. Thank you, and looking forward to seeing you all for our next Bolt event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.